Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid. And then there's abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And more of them now than ever are identifying as Republican.
It's been nearly a year since Bill Maher declared total war on the woke brigade. And guess what? He's just getting warmed up. Now his crosshairs are locked on none other than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the self-styled queen of progressivism who's been zipping across America like a political tornado, dropping activist soundbites like confetti. But Maher, he's not impressed. He's calling BS, and he's doing it loud, raw, and unfiltered. The gloves are off. The sarcasm is lethal. And the audience, eating it up. AOC may be riding the wave of her movement, but Maher just threw a tsunami straight at her platform. Let's tear into the chaos.
Every month I see a new poll reporting how much Latinos despise the woke term Latinx. It's about as popular with them as a reboot of Speedy Gonzales. Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid.
It all kicked off when Maher did what he does best, cut through the noise and ask the hard-hitting questions. This time, his target? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her relentless push for a far-left agenda that's losing steam with everyday Americans. Maher didn't sugarcoat it. He called out the ideology as toxic, divisive, and out of touch. And AOC? She didn't flinch. No reflection, no adjustment, just the same scripted righteousness, served with a forced Latinx flair. But Maher wasn't done. What came next was a cold, calculated takedown. No spin, no mercy, no room to run. A rhetorical beatdown so sharp it left the woke crowd stunned, and AOC scrambling to keep up. Stay locked in. The real fireworks are just getting started.
And then there's abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hole up. When the wokey end of the progressive spectrum talks about abortion now, they shy away from that word, women, and prefer terms like birthing people.
And just like that, the left chose this hill to collapse on, refusing to define what a woman is. 10 years ago, the answer was clear, unquestioned, rooted in basic biology. Women menstruate, they get pregnant, they give birth. It wasn't controversial, it was common sense. But then came the progressive identity quake. Suddenly, men could be women with a hashtag and a vibe. Gender became a guessing game, and daring to ask why made you public enemy number one? Americans didn't riot. They resisted. They asked the most human, basic questions and were met with digital mobs, cancel threats, and moral grandstanding from elite circles that treat common sense like hate speech. While Democrats doubled down on ideology, the rest of the nation quietly tapped out. The consequence? A crushing political defeat, not driven by hate, but by exhaustion. People weren't voting against compassion, they were voting against delusion. And in that moment, the left didn't just lose power, they lost the trust of the very people they claim to represent.
And more of them now than ever are identifying as Republican. So are Asian Americans, whose support for Democrats is down 16 points since the last election. A lot of that is because, in the name of achieving equity in schools, Democrats in deep blue cities have made it a mission to eliminate the advanced programs at which Asian kids excel.
This is what happens when you corner the American people. Eventually, they strike back. And when they do, it's not with protests, it's with ballots. AOC and her allies strutted through deep blue territory like political royalty, untouchable, unquestioned, unstoppable. They thought they could ram through any radical vision. Sure, their loyal base would cheer them on no matter how far they went. But they misread the room badly. Out of nowhere, the silent masses flipped. People who once hailed her as a progressive hero turned around and walked straight into the arms of the GOP. Yes, that GOP, the one AOC spent years mocking, blasting, demonizing. This wasn't a slow shift. It was a political earthquake. One night, you're the future of the party. The next, your strongholds are buckling, your supporters are fleeing, and your movement's on life support. So now the question looms. Was this a bump in the road for AOC, or the beginning of the end for the woke machine she helped build? Because if Bill Maher's next strike lands, it could bring the whole thing crashing down.
Last week, an 85% Latino congressional district on the border with Mexico, which had always voted heavily Democratic, flipped to the red team. And the campaign manager for the losing Democrat said, "We gave up a reliably Democratic congressional seat for no reason at all. We deserve to know why." Well, aside from your terrible attitude, I'm going to tell you why. Because these voters stopped seeing your candidate as their lawyer.
If you've been wondering why Maher keeps throwing around lines like "my lawyer" and "their lawyer," don't get distracted. It's not courtroom drama. It's a political masterclass in exposure. Maher's message is razor sharp. Voters don't want politicians playing both sides. They want a fighter, an advocate, someone in their corner, not someone cozying up to elite agendas while pretending to be for the people. But guess who didn't get that memo? AOC and her progressive squad. Instead of representing, they've been preaching. Instead of listening, they've been condescending. And now, voters are asking the brutal question, whose side are you really on? Maher isn't ranting, he's building a case. Step by step, jab by jab, he's exposing the growing chasm between what Americans want and what these so-called representatives deliver. The real twist? AOC loves playing the underdog, but right now, she's looking more like the defendant, on trial in the court of public opinion. And when Maher delivers his final blow, it won't be soft. It'll be the kind of truth bomb that leaves the entire foundation shaking.
If you're a parent and wanted schools to reopen a lot sooner than they did after COVID shutdowns, or think maybe your kid is getting a bad education, partly because it's nearly impossible to fire a lousy teacher, yeah, you're going to say, "Congratulations, teachers, you got yourself a good lawyer. The Democratic Party's always got your back, 100%. But I've noticed my kid is kind of an idiot. So I may be looking for new representation."
It wasn't just Latino voters that AOC and her progressive crew pushed away. They hit something even more sacred: our schools. And the fallout? A full-blown disaster with "fail" stamped across the board. Backed by the Biden administration and cheered on by the far left, they rolled out feel-good education policies that sounded great on paper, but wrecked reality. One major misstep, making it nearly impossible to hold failing teachers accountable. Noble sounding? Maybe. But in practice, it tied the hands of school leaders across the country. The result? A historic crash in student performance. Between 2020 and 2023, math scores for 13-year-olds plummeted by 9 points, the steepest drop in 50 years. Reading scores tanked too. And the educators at the center of it? Protected like they were national treasures. While AOC rallies crowds with slogans and Sanders chants the same tired class war script, parents are staring at cratering report cards wondering who failed who. This isn't just a bad policy, it's a generational wipeout. So here's the burning question. Can the Sanders-AOC wing save the Democratic Party? Or are they dragging it into both academic and electoral detention? Stick around, because Maher's about to grade their performance. And spoiler alert, this one's looking like a straight-up F.
President Biden wants to cancel hundreds of billions of dollars in student debt. Okay, but the poorer 2/3 of American kids who don't get a college degree are going to say, why should the people who didn't go to college and make less money subsidize the people who did go and make more? You want me to chip in so some liberal arts college can build a bigger rock wall? You're not my lawyer.
Sometimes you just have to laugh. Not because it's funny, but because it's so unbelievably bad it feels like satire. We're not talking about harmless government blunders. We're talking front-page, head-shaking, meme-worthy disasters. Remember defund the police? That genius idea unraveled the moment crime stats exploded and its loudest cheerleaders suddenly fell dead silent. Or the dream of rent cancellation, a plan that might have sounded revolutionary in a campus lounge, but collapsed under the weight of basic math. And the move to eliminate standardized tests, because apparently, having expectations now equals oppression. As Bill Maher would say, it's like the Democrats are actively trying to alienate the middle in record time. And spoiler, they're absolutely crushing it. The twist, these are the same folks who believe they've earned another chance to steer the country. This isn't leadership, it's political slapstick. And Maher, he's not handing out forgiveness, he's handing out receipts. Exit stage left, not without one hell of a roast first.
When he ran in 2020, Bernie Sanders said he would legalize marijuana on his first day as president, but that the business of selling pot would be awarded first to those who suffered most from the drug war. And you know what? I can't argue with that instinct. The drug war has been a horrendous instrument of prejudice and punishment for racial minorities, so it seems fair that they jump the line for weed franchises the way Indians did for casinos. But it's also what's holding up Republican support for legalizing weed nationally, which would be good for everybody. And these are the hard, practical choices the Democrats have to weigh.
Bill Maher didn't throw shade, he launched a full-scale rhetorical missile. And what he just dropped on the Democratic Party? Brutal, precise, devastating. If the Democrats think they can win back voters with another round of empty buzzwords and pre-scripted moral sermons, Maher just proved otherwise. He's not handing out political advice. He's throwing down a truth grenade. Step 1, stop hiding behind slogans. Step 2, get off the pedestal and into the damn trenches. Maher's message is crystal clear. If you want to matter again, talk to the people who've been tuning you out in disgust. Not at them, not above them. To them, eye to eye, no filter. For years, the party elite have played armchair savior from their DC glass towers, assuming they knew what America needed. Maher's calling that what it really is: arrogance in a designer suit. He's not asking Democrats to betray their values. He's daring them to remember who they were before they became a punchline. And then came the killer analogy. Maher compared the Democratic Party to a neglectful lawyer, so obsessed with side cases and public image, they forgot the actual client they swore to protect: the American people. You want loyalty? Then act like it. You want trust? Then show up for it. The country's hurting, and voters aren't looking for another social media star. They want a fighter, a champion, someone who actually gives a damn. And if Democrats don't wake up fast, they won't just lose votes. They'll lose their last shred of credibility. Maher didn't just deliver jokes. He issued a warning, loud, unforgiving, and if the party's smart, they'll stop laughing and start listening. Because if they don't, the door won't just close, it'll slam shut with a finality that no amount of spin can fix. That's the brutal truth bomb. Stick around. This war of words is far from over.